Hello, guys. How are we all? Hope we're all doing well. Hope we like the new intro that I've created. Thought I'd jazz it up a little bit. Let's just give it a second or so, and let's just see if we can have anyone jump on. So, hope you're all having a good week. I noticed that there's been a new change of tiers, so I hope that doesn't affect you guys too much. Hi, Carly. Good. That was what I was going for, the pro look. So I hope that doesn't affect you guys too much. And I know that BG have, in that step forward guidance, we're already prepped for tier 3, so go and have a little look at that if you're not sure. However, moving on to today's topic. So professional development, purposeful professional development, or purposeful CPD. So first of all, what is professional development? So professional development is where we as individuals in our profession, our chosen choice of profession, we decide to better ourselves. Be that through, certified courses. All of us that are coaching, hey Kim, all of us that are coaching, we all have to have qualifications, and that is part of our further professional development as we go from level 1 to level 2, level 3, so on and so forth. However, we do have those informal professional developments as well. Hi, Ruth. And what that means is that we don't always have to go on a course. We don't always have to go on a course, and always have to have it certified. And what I like to do is I like to have in-house professional development sessions. So what I do in those sessions, it varies. I think that there are two ways to look at it. One is from the business side of it, and one is from the coaching side of it. And I think there's an argument to say that one is top down and one is bottom up. So top down is where we as leaders, managers, your directorate level, they want certain things implemented in your club, in your setting. However, bottom up, I think is just as important. So those bottom up ones are ideas from your coaches, questions that come up from your coaches. Maybe that one coach has a question which loads of other people have as well. So we need to be able to raise those in a correct way, in a special circumstance. And I had a really good professional development just before we reopened from our lockdown. So just to give you guys some ideas, I think before we do any in-house professional development, we need to look at what we want to aim for, what our aim is, what we want to get out of it, and does it align with the overall club aims and the club goals? Because if it doesn't, then maybe we need to rethink about our CPD or our professional development. And I think it's important that when we're looking at qualifications and that professional development from qualifications, it's not just done ad hoc. It's done as and when, not as and when, but as and when you plan it. So you need to plan for those coaches to be qualified and go on those courses, not just go, oh my goodness, someone needs to be qualified in this discipline, let's put them on a course. It's all about that business planning. But in the meantime, I like to do lots of in-house ones. I've got just a little background into my structure at the club. So I've got a directorate above me. I'm the centre manager at my club, and then underneath me, I've got a senior team. Underneath that senior team, I have my coaches. Now, not every club has those levels and those dynamics, but just to give you guys an idea of how I run mine. So my directorate, they pretty much leave me to run the club. So I will run the club, and I decided before we reopened that we needed to know what I wanted to have a little chat about culture, what people perceive things to be in the gym, and how we can improve, what are good things, what are the bad things. And that was how I see it being really top down. And I'll give you some ideas on what we got out of that. And I've actually got some of the work that the coaches did on me. And then the other way that we do it is I also give my coaches an opportunity to ask me what are things they want to learn, what are things they want to do. So I have a recorded skills library of where I have delivered an evening 15-20 minute session on a specific skill which a couple of the coaches have decided that they wanted to learn about. It might just be plyometrics, it might be caster handstands, but by them having some input into it, it gives them buy-in. It also means that because it's recorded, that they can come back to it at any point, go over it, and just ask questions and comments. Is that we put it on a closed YouTube channel. Now, you don't always have to do it in that way, but that's just an idea that we've had and that we've gone with, and it seems to work pretty well. With regards to my most recent one, which is actually what gave me the inspiration to do today's live, was I wanted to talk about to all my coaches what we did well, what they thought we did well, and what they thought we could improve on. Because it's all well and good me thinking I know what we're good at, thinking that we know what we're bad at, but not all of those coaches, right from the guys that come in 1 hour a week to those guys that are my senior team, they might have different opinions. So what I did is I got loads of, let me just grab this to see if I can show it to you guys. So I got little A1 big old bits of paper, and I put them all around the gym, and each kind of one had context. So obviously that's me, I'm Alex, and this particular one was about what they wanted, what my role was, and what they expected from me. So as in small groups, they all had post-it notes and this, that, and the other. And as a manager, that's quite a scary thing to do, to go around and ask all your coaches to be open and honest about you and go, what do you want me to do better, guys? But I think sometimes we have to do that. But it wasn't just that one, was just an example about me. I obviously can't show some of the other ones because they're internal things. But if anyone wants to DM me later, I can give you some of the answers. But some of the other ones were like the directors, because I have a board of directors and trustees. What do you expect from them? What do you want from them? And what things do we do well? Who deals with our social media? Do you think our social media is well? And it's not just what I think, because I think we do a lot of these things really well. It was about what they think. And it gave them the opportunity in a very open forum where there was no holds barred. You can just put down on a bit of paper what you want. And it wasn't about, the important thing when you're doing that type of professional development is not to single anyone out, and not to ask any individual to stand up and say, yeah, I'm going to say this, because it can be very challenging when they are trying to challenge what is their leadership. So the way I did it is I put loads of bits of paper around the gym. They went off in small groups with some post-it notes, and they stuck those post-it notes on the bits of paper, which I then brought together. And then that gives me the chance to review it. Look, okay, so lots of people have said this, or you'll see themes come out of it. And then you can take away those themes and go, right, okay, so I need to make a real focus on having my presence seen more across the whole gym, not just to my senior team. The other thing is with these professional development days is often we think that those guys that, us at the top of the gym, the owners, the managers, we should always be the one leading it. We don't have to be the one that's leading it. We need to show our presence and we need to be there, but we don't need to be the one that's always talking, or always giving instruction, or always finding out what we want to say, because you kind of get lost and people won't always say what they feel. So what I did, and what I think is really, really good, is because you're developing people underneath you, is my senior team all had a part to play. I had an agenda, which I explained to them and we devised, and every single person had a topic. So one of it was COVID-19 procedures. Someone went over our COVID-19 procedure and any changes that had to come into place. Another person was talking about, you know, the rec and what we do good, what we do better. But what that means is I'm helping my other team develop so they're not so reliant on me all the time. So that leaves me to be able to go and do my job, which is developing things even further, making the gym even better, so we can have an even better environment. Now, the other thing I find, and I think is also really important as well, is that you need to make sure that it is a judgment-free environment. Whenever you're doing these professional development sessions, it's judgment-free. And the reason it needs to be judgment-free is because someone might have a question, but they don't want to ask that question because they don't want to look silly in front of their peers. So you need to facilitate that judgment-free atmosphere. And that was why we did the activity about asking about me on the post-it notes and bits of paper, was to show everyone that I'm not afraid to be judged. And so therefore you guys don't have to worry about it, because we are all professionals here. I like to enlist in my club that there isn't one leader, me, but I have 40 leaders. Every single person in my club is a leader. They can take something on and they can really go with that, and that's their job. And I embrace that and let them do that. The other part is, so that's the business part. That's the business part. That's me thinking about what I want to implement in the gym. The other part of it is, what do the coaches want to see? So normally the coaches will want to try and get some knowledge about the skills, knowledge about you know, how to teach or how to deal with challenging behaviors. So if you're going to do a session like that, that can sometimes be 15 minutes at the end of the session. Right, coaches, let's come together at the end of the session. You keep a few children back, especially if it's a skill wise, keep a few children back and go, right, these are physical preps. These are physical preps. These are like the conditioning exercises. This is flexibility. This is what we're gonna do, or these are the things you can do. Not that I want you to do. These are things that you can do. So, and I think by doing those little snippets, it doesn't take a lot of time out of everyone's day. You're giving back some of your knowledge, because we've all got masses of wealth of experience, which some of our younger coaches are going to take years to gain. So pass that on. If you're passing your coaching knowledge onto those people that are younger than you, lower on in your team, what's that going to do? That's going to make your whole team better. You're therefore going to have better coaching, better customer service, better club. Everyone's a winner. And that's, I think, the important bit. And I think for me, sometimes the CPD, those informal ones that you have in-house, are more important, or as important, I think I should say, as those structured ones. We all know everyone has to go on a qualification, has to go on a course to become qualified. But after they've done that, we always know that we sometimes forget bits and bobs. So we just need to bear that in mind. And I think, Kim, I think that's spot on. That two-way dialogue and is great. And I think I encourage everyone to have that two-way dialogue with their staff. I think it's so important. The other thing is, as well, as I had a little think about, because I know in these times it can be quite challenging. So how can we do this virtually? So the top-down one is pretty easy to do virtually, because we can all get on a Zoom meeting, and we can all do. You don't have to do things and ask questions. It can be quite difficult to do the poster note style of activity, but there are apps and other things out there. There's one that I like in particular called Kahoot, where you can give a link and they can all, it's almost like a polling thing, and it comes up live, and so you can have some set questions and some set answers, and you can poll to those answers. And so that's how you can make it virtual. And I think in that's how we have to be really clever. We have to try and think about adapting at this time. And yeah, I mean, CPD and professional development for coaches is something that I really advocate. I'm passionate about, and some of the other things that we had. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll get some of the other questions and things that we had up. So we've got teamwork. What were the positives and negatives around teamwork? Do we work well as a team? But it wasn't just about, well, do we work well as a team? The whole point of this is, can you give me an answer as to why? What would you like to see done better? Because otherwise you can't do anything with that information. But I've got a few others down there, but rather than listing them all up, what I might do is I'll put them in the comments so everyone can see the kind of things that I've done. And if anyone wants to see some of the types of CPD that I've done on the skills, then just drop me a message. Or if you want to grab me and chat to me about some different ideas that you might have for your coaches and your professional development. But just remember, guys, I see it as being as 2 ways, and those 2 ways go up and down all the time. I'd never say that I think a top-down management isn't the way that we should manage at the moment. I think it needs to be a little bit more fluid. So just bear that in mind. I hope you guys have found some value in that. Like I say, thanks for those guys who have jumped on. That's brilliant. We seem to get another couple of new faces every single time, so that's perfect. If you guys are watching this later and you've got any questions, obviously I'll be keeping my eyes on the comments, so just drop them in those comments. Send me a DM, and I love to talk about this subject. It's part of what I do. So hope you've all found that useful. And next week, if everything comes off, touch wood, fingers crossed, we have got some special guests joining me for our Love Gymnastics Live. So stay tuned. Get this already booked in, ready for next week, because we've got some special guests, and we're talking about communicating with kids. So hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much, guys. Great to talk to you. And don't forget, drop something in them DMs if you want, or in the comments if you want any help with anything. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. See you next week.